I love art. Art is my everything. I couldn't live without it. Art is my crack cocaine. Okay, seriously though, I've been drawing since the dawn of time. I don't know how true this is, but according to my parents, I was drawing before I could even talk. Honestly though, I would take that with a grain of salt because that would imply that I have some sort of talent. When I was in the second grade, my dad showed me Howl's Moving Castle for the first time, and that movie changed my life. I remember 7-year-old me staring at the TV for 2 hours straight, mind completely blown, and thinking to myself, yes, from that day forward, I've had my heart set on making movies or TV shows or anything related to storytelling, really. Even now, roughly 10 years later, I'm still determined to make that silly old dream come true regardless of how ridiculous and impossible it sounds. And now that I've been accepted into my dream school, I'm one step closer to making that dream come true. Assuming I don't die in the streets of New York City, that is. That's besides the point, though. Art. Not to brag or anything, but your boy has been officially SVA accepted. Although I think the school has a 60-something% acceptance rate, so it's kinda harder to not get accepted, but whatever. We're not gonna talk about that. But you know what we are gonna talk about? My artistic glow-up. The one thing in the world that's more impressive than my glow-up. Also, I thought it would be cool to include my college portfolio for those of you who are thinking about going to art school. So yeah, you're welcome. Viewer discretion is advised though. I was very into anime. 2015 was definitely a huge year for me. It was when I started taking art a lot more seriously, and as you can probably tell, I was going through a huge anime phase. One of my favorite artists around the time was a Japanese illustrator called Red Juice, and I really wanted to mimic his style. Obviously, I did a pretty crappy job doing that, but at the same time, it definitely helped me create my own unique art style. Around the time, I used a lot of mixed media, but mainly color pencils and markers. For anyone who is into art, I'm pretty sure you've heard of Copic markers somehow or another. Whether or not you actually use markers, and I honestly highly recommend them. One of their major downfalls is of course how expensive they are, which is why I suggest starting out with Copic Chow instead of Copic Sketch. They're basically the same marker but half the size and price, and honestly to this day I still use them. Looking back, I really admire my past self because I was always drawing and experimenting and creating new pieces. Of course, I was homeschooled around this time. Yes, I was homeschooled, so ultimately I had a heck of a lot more time to focus on drawing and improving myself, which now thanks to high school and work, I don't. So yeah, but I am very grateful to my parents for always motivating me and encouraging me to draw whenever I possibly could, because I really think this year helped me create a very strong foundation. And yeah, other than that, oh my god, I was such an otaku. I have to live with that for the rest of my life. I'm pretty sure I began my freshman year of high school, so with that being said, I didn't have nearly as much time to draw as I did during my homeschooling days, so that transition was kind of traumatic, not gonna lie. Thankfully though, my school provides a wonderful commercial arts program, so it's not like I wasn't drawing every day, I just wasn't drawing every second of my life. I'm very thankful for my art teacher because I've heard so many horror stories about teachers hating their students for drawing anime, but from the very first day of meeting her, Miss H has totally embraced my style. The woman is like my ultimate hype man, and she helped me in more ways than you could possibly imagine. Before high school, I hated anatomy. I couldn't tell you what the difference between shape and form was. I was fundamentally all over the place, and my god, it showed. But in no less than like 6 months of being under Miss H's wing, I learned so much about the elements and principles of art and design, and I'm not even joking when I say that my art drastically improved. Moral of the story, learn the fundamentals. They'll save you so much time and energy, plus it'll just make your art 100 times better. Even if you're more into cartoons and anime, trust me, stuff like anatomy and perspective, as boring as they are, will make your artwork pop. Trust me on this, kids. I hated this year. Literally everything that could go wrong went wrong, and never have I ever wanted to spontaneously combust more than I did during those painfully long and excruciating 365 days. Not only was I in a perpetual state of artist block, but I was also going through a lot emotionally, so as you can probably tell, I was having the time of my life. And that's all I'm really gonna say, because basically all you need to know is that I was sad and stopped drawing for a hot minute, thus my lack of artwork. Not gonna lie, it's kind of hard for me to even look through this portfolio because it's just a reminder of how much time I wasted on being depressed. But that's not to say there aren't a few gems in here. One of my personal favorite pieces of all time was actually made in the midst of all the sadness. Why is it my favorite? I honestly have no clue. All I remember is having a mental breakdown while coloring her hair, but honestly, what else is new? Then of course we have Senorita's Skull. I love this drawing, not necessarily because I think it's good in any way, but because I spent like 36 hours making it. So ultimately, I'm just trying to tell myself that I like this drawing just so it doesn't feel like a complete waste of time and energy and micron pens. Also, the geometric dodo bird is sorta kinda not really okay. All certainly not my best work, but hey, it got selected to display at some fancy art gallery thing, which is kinda cool. Other than that though, 2017 sucked. Thank God it's over. I would literally rather spend the rest of my life watching Birdemic and Birdemic 2 back to back than relive one singular day from my sophomore year. I'm getting ahead of myself though. I like to think of 2018 as the year I finally got all my shiz together. It was definitely a huge step up from the massive cluster fudge that was sophomore year. Up until then, I only had a vague idea of what I wanted to do with my life, but during the summer, I really thought about my future and what I wanted to do after graduation. So, because I'm literally the smartest person in the world, I decided I wanted to go to one of the most expensive art schools in the world, knowing full well there's no way in heck I can actually pay that kind of money. With that being said though, 2018 was the year I started trying out new techniques, but at the same time practicing the fundamentals, which pretty much sums up why there aren't a lot of crazy pieces in this portfolio. Overall, though, 2018 was a pretty okay year artistically, although I do wish I was more focused in improving myself instead of like trying to impress my crush who literally had no interest in me whatsoever. But unless someone invents a time machine in the near future, I have no choice but to live in the aftermath of my very questionable decisions. So yeah, we love that for me. My most recent portfolio, aka my college portfolio, aka my favorite portfolio in this video because looking at it doesn't make me want to puke. Before you say anything, yes, I am very well aware of the fact that there's artwork in here from my other portfolios. Originally, I was only going to include stuff I made in the last 6 months, but surprise, surprise, I procrastinated until a month before the deadline. So I kinda had to include a bunch of old artwork to meet the portfolio requirements. The best advice I can give to anyone planning on applying to art school is whatever you do not procrastinate. Seriously, looking back, I really wish I took the whole applying to college thing a lot more seriously because even though I ultimately got accepted into all the colleges I applied to, it definitely would have been nice to get more scholarships, and whether or not you get a scholarship is entirely dependent on how good of a portfolio you have, and grades too, but mostly your portfolio. Another thing I wish someone told me way before I even started making the portfolio is that it's okay to show your creative side. When I was getting my portfolio reviewed by one of the admission counselors at SVA, she literally told me to cut back on my observational pieces and to be more creative, which was honestly shocking considering when you look at the portfolio requirements on the literally any art school's website, 9 out of 10 times they're always like, if you so much as even draw a cartoon, you're dead. But don't be intimidated by the guidelines, because ultimately these admission counselors are looking for someone with a voice, someone who stands out, someone with a passion. So please do not be afraid to express yourself in your portfolio. But at the same time, don't confuse this with me saying that it's okay to not do observational, because those are still pretty darn important. So as long as you include at least 3 of those, you're good. Everything else, have at it, my guy, and hope for the best. That is honestly the worst advice I could possibly give. Please disregard everything I said in this video.
I was hanging with you and then I realized I didn't think it was true. I was surprised when I found out I'd fallen for you. I didn't want to believe my feelings for you. I didn't want to believe that I could lose you if I told you just how I felt. But I can't help it, I'm falling for you. And I can't quit it, 'cause I'm stuck on you.